Hi, I'm Ted Nelson. My son, for my 82nd birthday, gave me this CD, Red River Dave. And he was a hero to me when I was 5 years old, living in Chicago with my grandparents. I explored the radio on my own, and I found a fellow named Red River Dave. And he sang. I didn't know it was with a guitar, but he sang with a guitar. And he said, "You all come on down to the studio." And I thought, oh boy, a studio, because I'd seen the opening scenes of 20th Century Fox. So a studio had searchlights, right? And on top, and whole buildings. No. So I got my grandfather to take me down there. I guess it was on a Saturday when he was not at the office. And the studio was in an office building. It was a room in an office building with folding chairs. And we were the only guest. And Red River Dave was tickled pink that a little boy had brought his grandfather to hear him play. Well, we moved to Chicago. And on 8th Street, we lived on Washington Square, on 8th Street, which was a bustling thoroughfare in those days, there was a country and western place called the Village Barn, and they held square dances. Well, we didn't do any of that. But one day the sandwich outside said, Red River Dave. And so I made my grandparents take me to hear Red River Dave at the Village Barn. And as he strode through the crowd, we ate fried chicken or whatever. My grandmother had to take off her gloves for that. But as Red River Dave strode through the tables, he looked down and he said, "Why, it's the little boy from Chicago." I was so tickled. Years passed. In 1963, when I was working for John Lilly, the Dolphin guy, on weekends, my pleasure was to sing in coffee houses. I palled around with Dave Crosby in those days, before he went and founded the Byrds. And each of us would do a set of about 15 minutes, 3 or 4 songs, maybe 11 or 12 minutes. And my closing number was always, "Happy Landings to You, Amelia Earhart." A ship out on the ocean, just a speck against the sky, Amelia Earhart flying fast that day. With her partner, Captain Noonan. I better not break copyright by singing any more of it. But it ended, "There's a beautiful, beautiful field, far away in a land that is fair. Happy landings to you, Amelia Earhart. Farewell, First Lady of the Air." Well, skip ahead to the 1980s, and I went down to Washington, and I ran into my old friend from Swarthmore, Ralph Rinsler. He was by that time vice president of the Smithsonian, and he'd bought Folkways Records for the Smithsonian. Folkways Records was this fellow Lomax going around the country recording everybody and copywriting all their stuff in his own name, which became Folkways Records. So anyway, I mentioned loving Red River Dave, and Rinsler said, "Oh, he's still around." So I called him. I looked him up. They had phone books in those days. He was in the L.A. phone book, and I called him up. And his answering machine said he was available for concerts, for movies, for yada, 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 all kinds of stuff. And we had a nice conversation, but this time he did not remember me. But years later, I found out that the song I had always closed with, when I was singing in the coffee house, "Happy Landings to You, Amelia Earhart," was by Red River Dave. An interesting footnote. I briefly dated Carly Simon, and I was one of the people who thought, "You're so vain, you probably think this song's about you." It was about me. when we stopped dating, nevertheless, she invited me to hear a recording session at the Electric Lady studio, which Jimi Hendrix had built. And that was quite impressive. But only recently, visiting 8th Street once more, did I notice that the Electric Lady recording studio was at 52 West 8th Street, which is where the Village Barn had stood. The world is so full of coincidences. But as my friend Jonathan Post said, just if the world has millions of coincidences, think of the coincidences that don't happen. Thank you.